this rivalry means to this team, and then by extension of that, what this game means to these players.
Yeah, I think when you look at both rosters right now, there's still quite a few Indiana guys that are going to represent both programs on Saturday. And if you grow up in Indiana, you know the old Oak and Bucket has a tremendous amount of clout here in the state of Indiana. I think this rivalry, the two fan bases, you know, there's a lot of hatred. You could say between the two fan bases. You know, I think when you look at from a coaching perspective, from a player perspective, there's going to be respect. You know, but it's also that game that's circled on the calendar every year too, and you know you got an opportunity to keep the bucket here in West Lafayette, and that's a huge priority for us this week. And then just doing everything we can to maximize you know our players and what we feel like they can do well offensively.
Where is Marco Stava in his development, and as he nears the end of year one, where is he as far as being ready to compete for next year?
Yeah, I think looking ahead for Marcos, he's going to have an opportunity to win the starting job in the spring for us. He's had a really good season for us this year. He's grown and developed. You know, when Hudson was out and he was taking reps with the twos, he certainly showed some progress, showed the ability to use his legs in the run game. And, you know, obviously his arm talent is different. And so for us, he's going to have every opportunity going into the spring to continue to develop and compete for the starting job. Excuse me.
Where did that arm talent show up? Because can you expound on what you mean by that?
Yeah, when you watch him in practice, you watch him make throws in practice. He has a high level arm talent. You know, with just his accuracy, his ability to get the ball down the field, his release, all of those things, you know, lead into his ability as a passer to be really effective.
Jason, you've been around this for a long time, and I know you have tunnel vision on what Purdue is doing right now, but do you think that part of the frustration with the Purdue fans also is kind of compounded with what Indiana's doing this season?
Well, I think it certainly, and you know, we would be naive to think that it doesn't. You know, for Coach Signetti and his staff to come in year one and have the success that they're having, certainly increases the spotlight on things here. You know, we would be naive to sit up here and say, nah, it doesn't have anything to do with it. You know, and for us, like it's, you know, we're continuing day in and day out to make sure that we do everything we can to give ourselves an opportunity on Saturday. You know, obviously Friday night when we were up at East Lansing, we had opportunities. You know, we had three drives in the fourth quarter, down 7, and we weren't good enough. You know, we weren't good enough to convert and to punch one of those drives in to tie the game up. So. Yeah, I think when you look at the trajectory of both programs right now, I think the easy thing to do is to compare them, and you know that's for somebody else to worry about more so than me. But we would be naive to think that it doesn't have an impact here.
How good was it to see? I know you didn't run the ball very well Friday night, but the passing game, especially in the second half, was probably as good as it's been all year long, maybe aside from Indiana State.
Well, you know, I think it shows you what we're capable of. The frustrating part about Friday night was our inability to create balance. You know, we just didn't run the ball effective enough or well enough to keep them honest, and you know that invited more pressure, and then you know our inability to consistently make plays. You know, down the field we had 3 huge drops in the fourth quarter. You know that obviously led to us not being able to tie that thing up.
Obviously, you're getting ready to play your son here on Saturday. Have you guys talked a little bit about what that'll be like, and I guess what does that mean to you to go up against your son?
Well, you know, for us, it's that's he and I are looking forward to that moment. You know, obviously we'll be able to share a moment during pregame. You know, with me being up in the press box and him being on the field, we probably won't see each other afterwards until you know if I have a chance to meet him out in the parking lot, I will. But you know, for us, pregame, it'll be a great father-son moment. You know, certainly excited for him, and you know where he's at. You know, I think from a playing time standpoint, it hadn't shown up in a bunch of snaps for him, but the work that he puts in and day out, I'm sure he's finding ways to add value. So you know, we're looking forward to that moment during pregame. You know, we've already traded a bunch of text messages. You know, and it's only Monday. Just try to have fun and make light of it, you know, obviously because, you know, it'll be a topic of conversation for some, and there are others that don't even realize that either one of us are taking part in this thing. So, you know, we'll have our moment pregame, and then, you know, when the game starts, it's going to be on. Like we got a job to do, and we're going to do everything we can to keep the bucket here in West Lafayette.
Jason, how do you get the ground game going? The last 4 games have not produced one 100-yard effort. Is there anything you can do to get the ground game ramped up at all?
Yeah, I think so much of it is just making sure we're in the right spot. We got to continue to find the ideal matchups for us. We got to get ourselves in the right run at the line of scrimmage, and then we got to be able to sustain blocks and finish plays. I think when you go back to Friday night, we had openings, especially in the first half. Felt like we could have gotten some more out of it, but we got to do a better job finishing up front, and that's on us as coaches first, and we got to coach those guys. We got to continue to coach them hard, and we got to finish plays. And when we do have air, we got to be able to get the ball up in there and go. And we just got to continue to work at it.
You guys are obviously a heavy underdog. What's the recipe to pull off a giant upset like this?
Well, I think for us is we got to keep their offense off the field, and so much of that is just being willing to play complementary football. And how can we go manufacture 4 or 5 yard plays and string enough of them together, have enough discipline to go finish drives like that? We had 2 early drives in the first half that we did not finish with touchdowns, and then we were able to get that touchdown in the third quarter that kind of sparked us a little bit. So we got to be able to string 4 or 5 yard plays together. We got to do everything we can to keep their offense off the field, and really control what we can control, and that's matchups in the run game. That's making sure we get the ball into open air. And then, we got to be willing to go finish drives in the red zone. And, we were certainly better at it in the second half on Friday night than we were in the first half. But so we got to be great situational football. We got to win third down, and we got to find scoring plays in the red zone that lead to touchdowns and not field goals.
More questions for Coach Simmons?